Hey, what's going on, guys? Cygnus here. I've been getting a lot of questions about stuff that I thought was pretty straightforward about twinking, but it doesn't seem to be to everyone else. So I'm going to show you guys how I have my account set up and how I go about starting a level 20 twink so that you guys can follow along and get like a little bit better of an understanding and not have so many questions that I thought were straightforward. So I have 3 accounts. It sounds like a lot, but there's WoW 1, WoW 2, and WoW 3. WoW 1 doesn't have a sub. It is a veteran account. It used to have a sub a long time ago, and it doesn't anymore, right? So it has veteran status, and it's on the same BNet as the rest of these accounts. Here's WoW 2. This is a account that does have a sub now. It never used to be active. I just started it recently when I was farming the bullfrog, the enormous bullfrog in RFK. So that's something new that I never used to have. Then there is WoW 3 right here. This one has always had a sub. I let it lapse every once in a while, but for the most part, that's my main account, and it has always had a sub. It's always existed. It's where my 60s are. It's where my farmers are. It's where my a lot of my twinks actually exist now that are like that I gear. From now on, I'm gonna start leveling my twinks on WoW 2. So that I can run them and trade with them and enchant with them like all on the same, at the same time from WoW 3. So if I ever need to get into a dungeon or fly somewhere, I can use account 3 to do that. And I can still trade and use the auction house with them, and mailbox and whatever. So it makes things easier for me. WoW 1 is where I transfer my twinks when they're done. I've only transferred one character over here so far, and it's this warrior that it was like my second twink that I ever made. Sig Totem lives there right now, so he has never been on a paid account, but I did run him a few times, with the main account to get the gear that he needed and the enchants and stuff like that. I mostly used WoW 3 as a taxi service for WoW 1 because I never had a sub here, so I can never trade. I can never use the auction house. So Sig Totem is kind of like a true veteran that's never had a sub. It's kind of weird. It's like a unpure free-to-play veteran. I know Cons is gonna hate me for that, and so is Chops. So today what we're gonna do is make a new twink on an account on WoW 2, so on an account that has a sub currently. It's gonna be a Horde Feral Druid, and one of the reasons is because I have allied races unlocked that can be a Druid. And druids are also tanks and healers, so they get really fast dungeon queues. So for the sake of this video and the length of my sanity, we're gonna do this, okay? Until I start BJing and hate Feral Druid. But yeah, we're gonna do that first. So I'm gonna do this in steps, right? So step 1, make your character, right? Very simple. For the sake of time and my sanity, I'm gonna level an allied race. If you don't have an allied race, you can, start a character from level 1. The only difference there is when you select your starting zone, you're going to want to select Exile's Reach because you can hit 1 to 10 in like an hour, and it's really quick. Again, for the sake of time, I'm making a class that can tank, heal, and DPS, just so that dungeons are the fastest way possible to level. You can PvP, you can quest, you can do whatever you want to level. Just next step is hit level 20. Now, I've heard a lot of people say, well, don't level through TBC dungeons. Do something else like Wrath of the Lich King or any other, timeline. And while Wrath of the Lich King is another good one, the queues aren't as quick, the dungeons aren't as short, other than Old Hills, of course. And there's a lot more quests in the TBC dungeons than there are in most other timelines. So that's why I choose, even though we grind these dungeons for gear later, that's why I use these to level. As always, if you finish the dungeon, if you have quests to turn in at the very beginning, teleport out of the dungeon and teleport back in. It's the quickest way instead of running back, especially in some of these longer TBC dungeons that don't have quick ways back to the front. Normally what I do when I'm waiting in queues and I'm leveling a new twink, I stand right next to the experienced Illuminator guy. So for Horde, it's this guy Slots. He's up here in the Valley of Honor in Orgrimmar. I usually stand here so that, if I just hit level 20, I can teleport right out, turn my XP off, and then not worry about it. Okay, you're gonna notice something. If I hover over these gloves, I'm level 15. See how it's item level 19, but it says requires level 25? That is not true. It's a tooltip error. All you have to do, for some reason it doesn't show up in my bags like it does for everybody else's, but all I have to do is right click it, and I can wear it. I don't know why this tooltip error exists, but it happens all the time, and I get a ton of questions about it. Well, I can't wear the gear that I'm gonna farm. Why would I do TBC dungeons? It's just a bug. It's just a bug. Ignore it. I know. How are you supposed to know? Why is Blizzard bad? Small indie company, the whole nine. I get it, and I'm sorry that it is that way, but it is. So, ignore the tooltips for most things. Well, ignore the tooltips for TBC dungeon drops. It's fine. Everything's fine. So I'm gonna try and run down here really quick. These guys are gonna fucking kill me. But all right, so I've got this one. Boom, complete, and this should do it. All right, cool. We hit 20. Now I've got to teleport out. All right, so I was able to teleport out and turn my XP off. Now we can tele back in. It's gonna be a long run back, but I mean, who cares, right? All right, so we finished it. We hit level 20. So now we get to start actually, playing the game and gearing, right? So it's like, well, how do I figure out what kind of gear I need? Well, there's this awesome armory thread that I manage over on xpoff.com, and it shows a bunch. So if you're looking for feral druids, there's not a whole lot of them, but you can go under here and click feral, and look at that. You can find somebody's armory, and you can copy them, or you can reach out to them and ask them questions, or just ask questions in the Discord. There's also another resource that's relatively new, and it's called TwinkDB, and the buddy Ivo, I don't actually know how to say his name, but he manages this and made it. And if you're looking for any gear, you can go in here and click on armor, and so I'm a leather wearer, so I can see, oh look, there's a 3-socket helm, comes from AC. There's these shoulders that come from Old Hills. There's another set of shoulders that come from Steam Vault, and they've got kind of a little bit of everything in here. I'll have both the links to the armory and to the TwinkDB in the description, so I know what you're thinking. Some of my best in slot gear comes from the Mechanar. I don't know if it does, I'm just giving that as an example. If you look at the list of specific TBC dungeons that you can queue for, you can't queue for the Mechanar, but you can go to the Mechanar and walk into it. So after you've got all your gear set, you're gemmed, you're enchanted, you're ready to go, you have a couple decisions that you have to make. Are you going to PvE and just do dungeons and try to solo dungeons or whatnot? If you're gonna do that, you can just keep your character XP locked on the subbed account and go from there. You can queue dungeons up with this debuff, and everything's fine. If you want to war game, you do not have to turn your XP back on or unsub or anything like that. You can just get this add-on called Wargame Helper, and just like that, you can wargame against whoever's in your friends list or your target. It's super, super easy, and anybody can do it with a sub, without a sub, it doesn't matter. If you do want to do certain queued up PvP, like random battlegrounds or arena skirmishes, you have to wait until your sub runs out, and then just before your sub runs out, like maybe a day or 12 hours before, you go back to that character that shuts your XP off, and you turn your XP back on. And then what you're gonna do is not play your character for another 24 hours. I know it's gonna be enticing seeing that counter on the Blizzard launcher. It's like, oh, I've got 2 hours until I can QBGs. I'm really excited. Don't do it, okay? Get up, go do something, go level another character. It doesn't take long, it takes another couple hours. Go do something else. We just had somebody else that was in one of our guilds that didn't wait, and he leveled to 21. Now, how do you tell if your subs actually run out? So when your XP is disabled, you don't have an experience bar showing up anywhere, right? It doesn't show up, you can't tell if you're getting XP, you're not getting XP, it's fine. When you go and re-enable your experience, your bar should show back up. If it doesn't say free trial level cap reached, and you are still gaining experience in the combat log, you need to go away. You need to stop. You need to step away from your computer, okay? Just don't immediately queue into a BG, because you get a lot of experience from BGs if you're not XP debuffed, and don't do that. It's dumb. Just go kill something first and make sure you're not gaining any experience, okay? It's very, very easy to do. So that's one option. The other option is you can always just transfer your character to another account that is a veteran account that doesn't have a sub currently. You can't transfer it to a free-to-play account. There's some weird things with starter accounts that don't allow you to do that. So it has to be another veteran account that doesn't have a sub. Make sure you turn your XP on before you transfer to that new account, because otherwise you're going to have to open a ticket and talk to a GM and, you know, beg them to unlock your XP, and then they're going to say, well, you're going to bank XP, and then you're going to say, no, veteran accounts don't bank XP, because they're just reading off of, you know, a self-done script, and it's not true. So free-to-play accounts bank experience. So if you ever got a sub on a free-to-play account, you will level past 20. But on a veteran account, you don't bank experience. See my bar? See my experience bar right here? It's not max, it's not full, it's stuck at 1.8% at 378 experience. It's not moving. I don't have a sub on this account. You do not bank XP. So that's all I've got for this video, guys. I hope I answered some of the various questions that everybody has had in the comment sections. If you still have questions, feel free to comment. It's fine. I try to help everybody, and I try to have as much patience as possible, and I try to explain things very, very simply for everybody. But thank you all for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace!